A remote ranch in Brenham is as close as a 9.5-year-old boy ever gets to school.
I would if I could.
But C.J. Heron can't go to school because he got too early a start. Born premature, at 2 pounds 2 ounces, his health problems lingered, leaving him with a compromised immune system. A cold, a scrape, an elementary school sneeze could prove disastrous. So he stays home.
Not being able to see your friends.
And thinks about what he's missing.
Because I know pretty much every one of them.
But at Brenham Elementary,
CJ is about to arrive.
CJ made it to the 3rd grade for the first time today.
Hi, CJ!
The newest Texas student to arrive at school by computer.
My red and green.
A Vigo robot he controls from the kitchen table miles away at his grandparents' Brenham home. He can take part in classroom discussions, visit with all those friends he's been missing, and even spin a few donuts in the hall.
My favorite thing is when they're just all cheering for me.
How does it make you feel when they cheer for you?
Alive.
And that chance to feel alive is enough to make a mom cry.
It's more than just going to school. It's him growing up and getting friends and being a little 9-year-old boy.
Same emotions from a grandfather who's been by his grandson's side since day one.
CJ has a special place in my heart because of all he's been through. And I'm just so grateful to everyone.
And CJ is grateful because he can also give his robot a nickname. It's on its shirt, the Blue Deuce.
Keselowski wins at Dover.
This kid is a NASCAR fan and his favorite driver is Brad Keselowski, number 2.
Well, it makes sense because I was 2 pounds 2 ounces and my favorite race car driver drops a number 2. Then he comes in and goes, oh, there he is, Blue Deuce.
For now, the somewhat slower Blue Deuce will run the hallways at Brenham Elementary, sit side by side with his 3rd grade classmates in the front row.
What do you think now? How fun is this?
Pretty fun.
A robot, a lifeline for a little kid until he's healthy enough to get back into the race in person.
Okay, logging off in 3, 2, 1.
CJ has left the building.
In Brenham, Kevin Reese, KHOU 11 News.
Our investigators found people with disabilities getting punched, kicked, and beaten, all while their attackers know that it's being videotaped.
What's more, our Jeremy Rogowski says your tax dollars are paying for this so-called care.
It still hurts. It still hurts.
Like all mothers, all Mary Collins wanted to do was to protect her son, Timmy.
How can somebody take advantage and hurt somebody that is that innocent? He was gonna ham it up.
Timmy is autistic and at 33 functions like a 5-year-old. Requiring round-the-clock care, Mom put him in this State of Texas Living Center in Brenham. And that's where something very cruel took place.
It's appalling.
While Timmy was acting up one day on a bathroom floor.
And the staff member took the bathroom door and slammed the door into Timmy's head.
It left a bloody inch-long gash to his right ear.
It shouldn't happen. There's no reason why it should happen.
But it happens even since the state installed hundreds of security cameras. Watch this state employee walk a disabled resident into this waiting area. Out of nowhere, he decks the man with a closed fist. But after spotting the so-called eye in the sky, there's insult to injury as the employee gives the resident a hug, as if nothing ever happened.
It's very angering, it's frustrating, it's sad.
Haley Turner and Beth Mitchell are advocates for the nonprofit Disability Rights Texas.
It doesn't add up. People are blatantly abusing and neglecting people knowing that they are being filmed.
And the I-Team found it's widespread. Across the 13 state-supported living centers, there were nearly 500 cases of abuse and neglect last year alone, such as slapping, hitting, punching, and choking residents.
And 4 years ago, it was even worse. So bad, the feds stepped in and investigated. The result? A major fix-it plan the state of Texas signed off on. But since then,
we are 4 years later, but we're not getting there.
Mitchell says the state hasn't even corrected half of the things it said it would.
They're at 20 to 25% compliance.
They should be at 100%.
They should be at 100%.
They had their time to fix the mess.
They did.
Is the mess been fixed?
No.
4 years later, and you're not even halfway there?
But when you ask the state, you get a different spin.
This was going to be a lengthy process that was going to take years and years, and we're making those improvements.
Cecilia Cavuto is with the Texas Department of Aging and Disability Services, or DADS, and she maintains the state is on the right path. So what about the continued abuse?
We're talking kickings and beatings and draggings. How could this be acceptable?
It's not. It is absolutely not acceptable.
Then why does it keep going on if you have the eye in the sky everywhere?
You know, I can't answer that. And one of the things you might want to look
Instead, Cavuto wanted us to focus on the positive and gave us a tour of the Richmond facility, where residents can ride horses, get a custom-made wheelchair, and earn a paycheck doing menial jobs.
There are good things happening every day.
Are you happy? Yeah. Tell that to Mary Collins, who says the best thing was yanking Timmy out of state care.
We trust these people. We put our children, our offspring, part of us in their hands. And I just don't understand how they could do that.
Now, the assault on Mary Collins' son Timmy also was captured on surveillance video, but the state of Texas would not let us see it or the many other abuse cases caught on tape. Why? Well, the state said it was a privacy issue for its residents, so we requested the videos with faces blurred. But the state's answer to that? No.
I'm glad this is on the news because they need to be aware of, I mean, look at all the parents. You know, it's ridiculous that they don't have a better security system on every entrance of this school. And it doesn't just need to be the high school, it needs to be every single school, elementary, middle school, high school. This can't happen anymore, it just can't.
Again, expressing the sentiments of a lot of parents. Thanks for taking a minute to talk to me.
Well, yeah, you know, I want everybody to know. I want everybody to be involved. You know, I want everybody to talk about it. The more people we get out there, you know, the better chance that there is something that will be done about it.
Again, this is still an unconfirmed report of a fatality inside Spring High School, but that's all the talk that's going on out here to the parents, and that doesn't help things much when parents are trying to get a hold of their kids and trying to kind of make sense of a situation when the information that is flowing is simply that there could have been a fatality inside the school. It's a very difficult situation for the parents, obviously. They are still coming, despite the fact that they're told that they don't need to. Now there are several hundred folks, all with the same kind of intentions, and that is simply to see their kids, to touch their kids, to know that their kids are all right, and get whatever information they can. It's that flow of information that is so difficult, both for the school and the school officials and for the parents as they try to make sense, everybody as a whole, of what may have gone down inside Spring High School this morning. Again, at the very beginning of the school day, a school day that's only started at 7:30 for just a week. It's a new thing for Spring ISD, having the high school start that early, right at the very beginning of the day. The last thing you would want to happen inside any school. Back to you guys.
Jeremy, you've spoken to so many emotional parents out there this morning.
Breaking news tonight, the search for a vehicle stolen with a child inside.
Our Tiffany Craig is live on the scene at Scott and Yellowstone in southeast Houston with more. Tiffany?
Yeah, just a few minutes ago, there were a number of police officers that were here in the parking lot of this gas station, tore out of here, told us before they left that they believe they have found the baby inside the car, locked up about 2 miles from here. But let's go back in time quickly and tell you what happened. There was a mother coming to this gas station right here, going to use the ATM. She pulled up, left the car in park with it running and the child inside. Take a look at his picture. 21-month-old Lonnie Lawrence was in the back seat. Mom says she wasn't in there but a minute, came back out, and her 1998 silver Jeep Cherokee was missing. But again, that all happened within the last hour, and just a few minutes ago, police told us they believe they have found that stolen Jeep along with the baby inside. What we're going to do is we're going to tear down this scene that we have here. We're going to head over to that area 2 miles from here, and we'll be back with you later in the newscast, and we'll let you know the condition of that child.
All right, right now we want to take you to some live pictures from the scene where a little boy has been found, apparently after being kidnapped inside a vehicle. Apparently a woman was carjacked and the child was inside the vehicle. They found the baby safe and sound. It looks like he's being taken by ambulance to the hospital, I imagine as a precaution to be checked out. But we're happy to report that that little boy who was inside a vehicle that was stolen earlier this evening appears to be just fine. We'll keep you posted and have more on this story coming up in a few minutes.
Back now to Southeast Houston, where we're thrilled to tell you a little boy is back with his mom after being kidnapped when someone stole his mother's car.
Tiffany Craig is live now with the update for us. Tiff?
Yeah, guys, this was a long night for a 21-month-old boy named Lonnie. The car that he was actually in that was stolen is right back there. You can see their police are still out here trying to piece this one together. And from the best of our knowledge and what we're being told by police is that they still haven't caught the man who stole the car with the baby in it. But let's take a look at the video because little Lonnie was happy as you can imagine to be back with his mother tonight. They were at a gas station earlier this evening about 2 miles from here. He was left in his car seat in the back seat of the car while mom went in to the ATM. She said she was gone a minute or two tops, came back out, and her car was stolen with that little boy inside. But luckily, less than an hour later, he was reunited with his mother and he has gone home for the night. He was put in an ambulance, taken to the hospital just as a precaution. But from all things that we could see, he was smiling and he almost started waving at our camera. So it seems all is well. But again, they are still looking for the man who originally started all of this and stole that vehicle with that little boy inside. We are live in Southeast Houston. Tiffany Craig, KHOU 11 News.
We begin with the latest on the Lone Star College stabbings. 14 victims total, and police have arrested this man. Several sources have identified him as 20-year-old Dylan Quick.
You don't want to ever see a person do that to other people, and just so many people that have moms and dads and children, and you don't want to see that.
We'll hear more from a witness who helped victims after seeing 2 people attacked.
But first, several sources tell 11 News the young man seen in this exclusive video suspected in this attack is a student at Lone Star College, Dylan Quick. Our I-Team uncovered a blog that recently featured Quick. It talked about how far he had come since he was born deaf and received a cochlear implant. The website says Quick has been involved with Lone Star College for several years in teen activities, even learning English. The website was taken down earlier today.
An alert went out before noon and the campus and surrounding schools went on lockdown.
There were initial reports that 2 people were involved, but soon after word came down, it was just one man going on a rampage, attacking people randomly.
Our Malini Basu joins us live with more tonight. Malini?
Oh, that's right, Lisa, and Len. Confusion, chaos, pandemonium, all right here. Right now, you can see behind me, things pretty much have calmed down, but deputies are on the other side, still processing the scene, and they will be here for hours. Air 11 was over the scene just around 11:30 this morning. You can see students were being loaded into stretchers one by one. Well, what we know right now, deputies got a 911 call this morning about a man running around the Lone Star Sci-Fair campus attacking people. A total of 14 students were stabbed. 2 are still hospitalized in critical condition. The students told us the 20-year-old suspect, who is a student here at the school, again was going from building to building, stabbing people. One student saw a victim bleeding, and all of the chaos.
Everybody was calmed in the library, so I mean, I guess they didn't know what was going on until they seen all the sheriffs pulling up outside of the library, so everybody started leaving.
How did you know about what happened? Did they tell you to get out or what?
Yeah, they had the operator calling me saying it's a fine shelter.
Kind of nervous, kind of crazy, kind of just what's going on, a lot of what's going on when you're sitting in the classroom, but you have to trust in God.
Students were leaving from class and going to class, and attack was at random. And as we far right now, it went from building to building.
Now, as we mentioned a moment ago, several sources told us 20-year-old Dylan Quick is being questioned by deputies right now. They are looking for a motive. Now, back out here live. Also, Sheriff Adrian Garcia told us that there is surveillance video of the lone suspect going around stabbing people. That video has not been released here. Also, the campus is closed today. Everything should be back to normal by tomorrow.
We now have rain and more hail falling here in Murrow, Oklahoma. We'll get out of the way in a minute, but at the moment I'm standing in a debris field a quarter-mile away from the nearest demolished home. We are here because police moved us back so that they could continue their searching operations. They believe there may be more victims out there. But before all of this mess started again, we did reach several of these neighborhoods where we found survivors who are lucky for just one thing, lucky that they're alive at all. We toured the hardest hit areas this morning, the blocks after blocks of homes that looked like they were flattened by bulldozers or bombs, the remnants of the Plaza Towers Elementary School, the ravaged Moore Medical Center, now a crushed car holding yard. But by daylight, there was so much more. This is the Stone Meadow subdivision, and it's hard to describe, but by comparison, this is one of the least damaged neighborhoods on the edge of the tornado's path. Even here, you can find survivors like Stacy and Lisa McDaniel. Their roof is gone, the house a total loss, but they survived, huddled with their dog in this bedroom closet.
About the only room left standing.
Grace of God, we was in the closet. It just, I don't know.
Even here at the so-called edge of the tornado, houses are piles of sticks and bricks. Vehicles, if still upright, are impaled by debris. And in all this rubble, all this pain, you can also find survivors' guilt.
I'm overwhelmed. I mean, I'm devastated.
Even when Katrina Eastwood's roof is sitting on the house next door.
Son rode the storm out in our house, and I know their parents went to bed last night without their kids, and it's heartbreaking.
The tears are flowing readily in Moore, Oklahoma, but even a woman lingering inside her house that could collapse on her at any moment feels fortunate.
We survived it.
That is the only victory anyone can claim in Moore, Oklahoma today. And back here in Moore, Oklahoma, this latest rain squall is getting a little bit lighter at the moment, but more of this to come. And this is what rescuers are dealing with right now as they continue to go home to home looking for additional victims. They do believe they will find more. They have so many houses to search. And about this debris field here, we found everything, including items like this. If we can zoom in, you can see it real close. A picture of a toddler. Bits and pieces of stuff like this everywhere throughout Moore, Oklahoma today. This is what folks are finding miles and miles away. Back to you guys.
Kevin, the size of this just boggles the mind, and we're hearing that this tornado may have been as big as 2 miles wide. What are they saying on the ground about that?
They're not saying a lot about that to us here, but we can tell you we have driven the entire perimeter of it on this side of I-35. We are right now on the west side of I-35, those of you who might be familiar with it. The vast majority of the damage that you saw in our story stretches from west to east, this direction, headed directly across I-35, easily 2 miles wide at this point. That's the edge right over there on the southern side. We went on the other side as well. Easily stretches 2 miles at its worst. And in the middle at Plaza Towers Elementary School, all of the homes around that, the ones easily damaged the worst. That is where they're continuing to search, looking to see if there will indeed be more victims and if the fatality count here is going to go up.
Driving after a heavy rain along Southridge Street in the South Park neighborhood can only take you but so far.
It's just the way it is.
The way it is.
It's the way it is.
A way marked by high water that makes front lawns look like islands in a stream. Diana Benitez tells us every time it rains, the water rises. I pay taxes, she says. I pay the drainage fee. That's why I'm so angry. This is not right. Her neighbors agree.
Yeah, the city needs to do more, to put more work into.
The city's response: fire up the water pumps. Joe Brown seems unimpressed.
We don't see where it's going. They say they're pumping it out, but where?
The crews out here tell me just follow the blue hose from the back of this truck, passing right by Mr. Brown's house to where Southridge meets up with McCower Road. Authorities say there's a deeper drain right over there. It's a temporary fix, not a permanent solution. We're told that won't happen until an old concrete sewer line finally gets replaced. Some of the homeowners expressed some frustration.
Well, as a homeowner and living in the same neighborhood, I have some of the same frustrations.
But with more rain likely on the way, frustration is turning to fear.
We don't want to go to sleep.
No time to rest.
No bueno, no good.
No rain, no good.
The rain, no good.
Just watch and worry. And we are told these city crews are going to be out here all night long. This is really their first line of defense against the rising water.
She lives in the shadows.
So you're scared?
Yes, I am very scared.
Scared because she believes an ex-boyfriend has been watching her.
I love this person very much and never expected anything like this to happen.
But she doesn't think he's watching in person, but rather online, through the camera on her laptop computer, without her knowledge for months.
I had suspected it because he would say things that I thought, well, how does he know that?
And this woman is part of a growing worldwide trend. Peeping Toms using your webcam on your computer, hacking their way in, invading your most private moments. Do you see a lot of people like her?
Yes.
Cyber expert Gary Eustace says it's becoming more and more common. People installing software that allows them to remotely turn on the computer's camera and microphone.
This program in particular can be hidden, so there's no icons, no trace that this program is on the computer.
So he gives us a demonstration, and in just minutes, what he typed showed up on my computer. I am connected to your computer remotely, he wrote. So because there's software on this, even though I'm looking right here, you're watching me on your computer.
Correct.
And some people may not never know this.
Correct. A jealous boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife can use it to spy on the other.
But the KHOU 11 News I-team found often it's done by someone the victim doesn't know, like this Florida man who shot more than 20,000 photos of dozens of Gainesville co-eds using their webcams. And thanks to the internet, you can be peeped on from another country, like Germany, where police found a man who had hacked into the computers of hundreds of women all over the world and was recording them clothed and unclothed. And guess what? Watch what happens when I leave the room and set up my computer down the hall. So you can see me right now.
Yes.
Can you hear me right now?
Yes.
What am I doing?
Waving your arms.
Eustace showed us that you can be watched from anywhere, anytime. So really what you're telling me is not only can you see me on your computer, you can also see me on your iPhone.
Yes.
And as he points out, even your cell phone is now a gateway for peeping Toms.
Tablets, iPhones, Android-type phones, almost all mobile phones now have cameras.
Leaving some with one choice.
It's cut me off. All of my communications have been cut off.
So you're scared to use a phone, a computer,
Yes.
a cell phone.
I don't have any in my home anymore.
You got rid of them.
Everything.
So how can you protect yourself? Well, there are several ways. One, simply put a cover over that little camera. But even better, you can turn off your camera so it can't be turned on from the outside. How? Well, we've made a how-to video showing you what to do with KHOU's own computer guru, Doug Deloney. Just go to KHOU.com and have a look.
How are you? Hi. Do I know you?
Switching around.
Hi.
Hi,
Give me a kiss.
George.
Give me a kiss.
This night of speed dating is
For the 40-plus crowd.
see any men you like?
Not yet.
See any cars you like?
Yes. Yes.
From across the room, George saw something he liked. I walked him over.
Yeah, and this is George. He has something to say. Go ahead, George.
George was moving faster than a 911 Turbo.
I've fallen in love with you.
Men, once the time is up.
Speed dating in cars works like this. Women sit in the car. Men spend 3 minutes with each, then move to the next car and the next woman. If a dude picks a woman as his favorite and she picks him too, it's a match, and maybe they'll go on a real date.
Nothing compares to that face-to-face meeting. So we want people to get out of the house, get out from behind your computer, and come meet somebody face-to-face.
Funny thing, neither of the speed date organizers has found their match.
I do not participate in these events, but I provide them as a service.
In fact, she told us she's attracted to
Traveling and cars and fashion and books, and I really love myself. I have a very amazing relationship with myself.
back to the speed dates.
Hi, you guys.
Oh look, it's now George's turn to speed date Heidi.
Hi, George. I feel so special.
Well, you should feel special.
Why is that?
Because I picked you to be my queen.
What entails being your queen?
Taking care of the king.
Organizers say this kind of thing actually works.
Matchmaking is one of the oldest traditions. It's been around since way before you and I and our grandparents ever thought about it, and some cultures around the world still require it.
But we saw no passionate pairings in Porsches this time.
I would do it again, maybe for the next event, which is under 40.
They all had really great, interesting things about them. The cars were awesome, too.
Not every outing will be magical, but organizers say just like when we first started driving, perhaps we learn something about dating every time we get behind the wheel.
And Ron is just outside the Vatican. If I am not mistaken, Ron, you haven't slept in 24 hours?
Well, you're close. I think I did get a couple of hours of sleep, Lily. But you know, with this Italian coffee, who needs to sleep, right? Hey, I can sleep on the plane ride back home. Let's talk about Rome right now. Very chilly, but at least the sun is out. That miserable weather has gone. No more rain. And it's kind of interesting that the rain stopped about the time the new Pope greeted the crowd. Kind of interesting that it happened that way. And the Pope Francis has been having a full day already, his first full day on the job. He paid a visit to the Basilica of St. Mary Major. It was an unscheduled visit, quite a surprise for the people in that neighborhood, as you might imagine. Pope Francis was at the church for about half an hour of prayer at the Basilica's altar of the Virgin Mary. Meanwhile, this morning, as you said, I sat down for a one-on-one chat with Cardinal DiNardo. It's been a big week for him and the other cardinals. He gave me his thoughts about the new Pope.
Well, he has a beautiful sense of humility and straightforwardness. Ron, it's my first time ever in a conclave, and there you are eating lunch with all the cardinals at Santa Marta, and 3 hours later, you're pledging your loyalty and obedience to Bergoglio, who is now the Pope. So it's a very powerful kind of thing from my point of view as one of the electors. I would know more about Pope Francis from the general congregations last week. As you know, people get up and speak, and what I found in him was a person animated by charity. But that showed forth last night. There's just simply a great humility about the man that's not forced. It's just very obvious, and his sense of the church as the church for everyone, but especially for the poor.
Cardinal DiNardo seems very excited about the new Pope, and he's very excited about the fact that he'll be coming home soon. He says he really misses Houston. He won't be able to leave, though, until after next Tuesday when they have that inaugural Mass.
Westfield Volunteer Fire Department. They claim they're the pride of the North Side, but inside is a secret few want to talk about.
Just want to talk to you about why you guys were using Westfield Fire Department money.
Because the 11 News I-Team discovered that money, a lot of money, meant to help these brave volunteers save lives and protect property, was used on something else. What looks like personal pampering, like $468 spent at a day spa. Another $400 spent on women's clothes. And why would firefighters need $700 worth of Mac and Lancome makeup and more from Macy's? Then there's another trip to the mall, where in just one day, someone used the fire department's American Express card to run up more than $300 in charges at stores like Victoria's Secret, The Gap, and Hot Topic. And guess who got the bill? You, the public.
I have 5 children. You know, I could actually use that money that they're taking out of our taxes, and they're blowing on ridiculous stuff.
But not just stuff. We found huge travel bills. More than $2,300 spent at hotels in San Antonio and Austin. But topping it all, a trip to Lake Charles, where the bill came to a whopping $2,500.
Oh. In fact, the I-Team found at least $40,000 in questionable expenses, and that was just on the department's credit cards. What didn't we find? Receipts. Westfield Fire says it doesn't have any. Nothing to justify the expenses, nothing to explain who bought what. And all of it paid by people living in the East Aldine area, where the per capita income is less than $11,000 a year.
The boldness of it happening, but I guess they feel like they're above the law to continue to do that and feel like they can't get prosecuted for it.
So we went to the person in charge when the spending happened. No. Not this guy.
We want to talk to her.
No. But her, his wife, ex-Westfield Fire Chief Maureen Turrentine, who we discovered used fire funds, tax dollars, as a personal loan, including more than $11,000 in one instance.
We want to know why she thought it was okay to use Westfield Fire Department money for personal use.
In the truck.
Turrentine left the department suddenly last winter. So did Deputy Chief Tony Searcy and his brother Tommy Searcy, who was the assistant fire chief. He has since repaid the fire department more than $18,000.
Why were you using Westfield Fire Department money for personal use?
So we wondered, was anyone watching the department?
We didn't have a clue.
Shirley Cody is a commissioner for Emergency Services District 25. It's supposed to oversee Westfield Fire, but Cody admits the board never examined Westfield's books, even as the requests for funding grew and grew.
People are going to see this and say, ESD 25 was asleep at the wheel, plain and simply. That's the only way this sort of thing can happen.
Well, I'd probably have to agree because we all trusted each other. We knew all these people, and we never once thought they would do something like this.
Something like take advantage of taxpayers. Angry that money meant to protect their families, their lives, has been wasted.
I'd like to see them pay for it or given an answer for why money was used, for things outside of what it's designed for.
Hi, my name is Mimi Valdez, and this is my first time to the Jerusalem Hospital. I'm very excited.
Excited because she couldn't wait to reshape her body after losing 130 pounds.
You're tired, it's heavy. It's loose skin. It's just hard to live like that.
Valdez and her niece, Chrissy, say they chose Hospital Jerusalem in Tijuana, Mexico because doctors there promised the work would be done for $5,000. They thought they had found the perfect place.
Your happiness is right around the corner.
But the Houston women say nothing could have been further from the truth. They sent us some graphic photos to help prove their point.
Immediately after the bandages were moved, I took a look in the mirror at my breast. I had skin hanging out of the incisions.
Chrissy, who asked us not to use her last name, had lost 150 pounds. The mommy makeover she wanted so badly was a disaster. Valdez also complained, saying her tummy tuck left her disfigured. 2 weeks after their surgeries, both women say they were having major medical problems.
When I went to the hospital, they said, we don't know if we can save her.
We tried calling Hospital Jerusalem for a response. A spokesman told us we can't acknowledge if a patient was in the hospital. We declined based on the Patient Privacy Act. The ladies say the clinic in a strip center didn't look anything like the hospital on the website. Surgeries, they tell us, were being performed 24 hours a day. When you saw that there were red flags, why didn't you just turn around and just leave, get out of there?
I was already there. I knew I wasn't going to get my money back, and I just made a very, very wrong decision to go through with it, and I should have listened to my intuition, but I didn't.
Mimi and Chrissy are by no means alone. A group called Patients Beyond Borders estimates that last year, anywhere from 200,000 to more than 1 million people traveled to Mexico to have procedures done. Patients Beyond Borders says people should look for this seal, which proves a facility has met strict international medical standards.
Malaysia.
Foreign doctors are fighting more than ever to get patients from the U.S. by offering medical procedures at a lower price.
Do their homework.
Watch out, says the head of Houston Society of Plastic Surgeons.
Generally speaking, the surgeon who is providing a deeply discounted fee is not the surgeon who is well qualified.
Mimi and Chrissy did a lot of research before risking their lives in Mexico. Now they say the clinic won't even acknowledge they were patients.
Many times I said, why did I do this? I should have just saved up enough money and had it done with a doctor in Texas.
Through things and to not go.
The women have no legal recourse. Now they just want to tell their story and perhaps save a life.
I hope that people get the message that they need to be very careful.
Everyone knew where they were the day they heard it, or what they were doing, and that's true of anybody of that generation.
November 22, 1963. President Kennedy's breakfast meeting with the Fort Worth Chamber of Commerce was carried live on local television. But at Parkland Hospital, a fourth-year surgery resident named Red Duke wasn't paying much attention.
I don't think I was even hardly conscious of the fact that the president and his wife were going to be there.
At 12:30 noon, Dealey Plaza erupted in chaos. 6 minutes later, the president's motorcade arrived at Parkland, and someone told Red Duke to head for the emergency room.
And I thought, being a typical country boy, I thought, golly, I'm going to get to meet a president.
Then he walked into the trauma room.
And I saw these people standing there, and then I saw Mrs. Kennedy seated by the door, and her clothing was stained, and I realized that this was not a good deal.
As crowds gathered outside the hospital, doctors feverishly worked on the president's lifeless body.
I right quick recognized that this was a fatal injury, and I have no idea what I said, but they said, well, there's a guy across the hall needs some help.
I knew I'd been hit badly.
The guy across the hall turned out to be Texas Governor John Connally, seriously wounded by an assassin's bullet.
And I said, my God, they're going to kill us all.
but he lived to tell the story after he was treated by a young Dr. Red Duke.
It's so surreal that it doesn't make sense. That it's like an out-of-body experience. That, yeah, I was there and did all this stuff.
Now, on a wall of his cluttered office hangs a picture painted by his daughter. She was 3 years old that day. Her father can still recite what she said that night for a dinner prayer.
The words that came out of her mouth was, "The world is dark and we are very sad." That a 3-year-old could be so, it just recognized how smart little kids are.
Of all the mementos in his office, nothing from that day. It's one story. A man with a lifetime of stories doesn't care much to tell.
Inside a home in Richmond, fully decorated for Halloween, the first thing you notice about Murrow Sauer,
everybody calls me Risa,
is that she is not well.
I have COPD, lightest mutation, factor 5.
But her Halloween shirt also tells you this is a woman clinging to life and to a sense of humor.
I'm good, I'm alive. I mean, every day I wake up, that's a good thing.
She's been told by doctors that congestive heart failure will take her soon, a death sentence, but a sentence she's not facing alone.
And just trying to struggle through it.
Her husband Johnny is by her side, and so is a list.
Slow dance with Johnny again.
A handwritten bucket list.
If you read the list, there's nothing grandiose on the list.
A list devoted mostly to reconciling with God and with her family and friends. But then there's item number 6, dinner from Red Lobster. The restaurant delivered it in person, a simple request with a not-so-simple meaning.
The first time he told me I love you, he took me to Red Lobster. So I just wanted to try and recapture that. And we did. It was nice.
Murrow got that at-home dinner with the help of Silverado Hospice, the agency providing her in-home care. But the biggest item on the list would be a much taller order, the fancy church wedding she never had.
And I'm going to live to do it, too.
And that's what was meaningful to her. And when we hear that, it's like, let me find a way to make that happen.
And it will happen at the KHOU Cathedral of the Sacred Heart. Special meaning for a Catholic whose own heart is failing her.
He's going to be teary-eyed. I'm going to be teary-eyed. I can go to my grave knowing it was a real marriage, not just a JP.
Silverado Hospice suggests to their patients that they make a bucket list to have something to live for, to drain every minute out of every day.
If you can still move about, do it. Because if you don't, it's just a day you've missed, a regret that's going to be on your list. And I don't want regrets on my list.
A dying woman's last wish and worthy advice for the rest of us too. In Richmond, Kevin Reese, KHOU 11 News.
This is my Halloween costume.
At Halloween, we met a woman in Richmond, a woman dying.
Everybody calls me Risa.
Murrow Sauer has a fatal heart condition. She's been told she has months, not years.
I'm alive. I mean, every day I wake up, that's a good thing.
And in these final days, she made a bucket list.
Slow dance with Johnny again.
A handwritten list of the last moments she and her husband Johnny hoped to share, including the big church wedding they never had.
And I'm going to live to do it, too.
Saturday, she did live to see it.
May your blessings be upon them eternally.
The KHOU Cathedral of the Sacred Heart, the biggest Catholic sanctuary in Houston.
Will you love, honor each other as man and wife for the rest of your lives?
Yes, we will.
Yes, we will.
When people heard Murrow's story, they helped this last dream come true. A hairdresser, a florist, a photographer, all donated their time.
I, John,
take you, Murrow,
to
be my wife.
To be my wife.
Silverado Hospice made the rest of the arrangements.
In good times and in bad.
In sickness and in health.
In sickness and in health.
So that a woman in failing health could live her dreams at least one more day.
I will love you and honor you.
all the days of my life.
all the days of my life. Everything I've been waiting on. And I'm just happy it's here.
You may kiss the bride.
Mwah. I love you.
I love you.
When we first met Mauricia, her advice to the rest of us was to never waste a minute. Live every day like it is your last.
Oh, it's phenomenal. That's my bucket list. It's great.
And that's the last lesson she left us as she walked down the aisle. Her pastor told her love is eternal, but walk with purpose, knowing our time in life's aisle is not. Kevin Reese, KHOU 11 News.
Houston mourns tonight after the deaths of 4 firefighters.
At this hour, investigators are combing through the scene of the fire at the Southwest Inn while 2 fire stations are honoring their fallen heroes.
We are also tracking more dangerous weather tonight. At least 3 tornadoes have touched down near Oklahoma City, and at least 3 people are dead.
But we begin with the devastating loss of 4 of Houston's bravest. Hundreds of people lined up to salute the ambulances carrying the 3 men and 1 woman killed today in the line of duty.
That procession made its way through Southwest Houston as Mayor Parker broke the news.
There is nothing we can do that will heal the hurt that we all feel today.
The city has released the names of the fallen firefighters. They are 35-year-old Captain Matthew Renaud, 41-year-old Robert Beebe, 29-year-old Robert Garner, and 24-year-old Ann Sullivan.
The fire chief says it's believed the structure of the Southwest Inn collapsed on the firefighters who had rushed into the building thinking there were people trapped inside.
We will have more on that investigation in a moment, but first let's go to Doug Miller, who is live at the scene.
Doug, clearly this was a dangerous fire right from the beginning.
And it still is right now. Bathed in floodlights behind me, you can see what is left of the hotel that burned down here today. Firefighters are still over there, still looking for hot spots, making sure this blaze does not erupt again. And many of these firefighters, Houston firefighters, came here voluntarily, just drove here on their own so that the men and women who actually fought this blaze could go someplace, get some rest, leave this sad place, and begin to grieve.
What you are witnessing here is not just a fire.
Today is going to go down in the history of the Houston Fire Department as the worst day in the history of the Houston Fire Department, the greatest loss of lives.
As the first firefighters arrived just after noon, the flames they faced were already intense, already spreading rapidly.
The entire thing was caught on fire. On top, there was smog just everywhere.
Hotel guests say they saw the blaze break out in the restaurant, and some of them heard an explosion.
All of a sudden you hear a loud boom. The sound sounded like a cannon going off. I mean, it was so loud.
The flames gushed into the attic, and from there they raced through the entire hotel. Firefighters battling the blaze on the hottest day of the year repeatedly called for help, calling in 5 alarms for more manpower.
You walk in, average fire at our temperature is going to be about 500 to 600 degrees. You gear up, your body temperature, you're going to be at that place of exhaustion. Probably within 10 minutes.
Within minutes, 2 firefighters had been critically injured and rushed away in ambulances. At some point, amid the smoky chaos, the roof collapsed, and a team of firefighters inside the burning building was trapped. And the word spread that someone had died.
I feel just awful because I was there and he was trying to save everyone, and it just it hurts. It hurts my heart, honestly.
Only later did the magnitude of the disaster become clear, that this fast-spreading blaze had claimed the lives of more firefighters than any other fire in Houston history.
I ask for every Houstonian to offer their prayers for the families of these fallen firefighters, but also to take a moment to think about what the job of a firefighter is and the dangers that they face every day.
It is important to note that this is a place of tragedy, not just for the Houston Fire Department, but also for the Houston Police Department. It was at this very same hotel back one day in 1999 that Officer Troy Blando was shot to death. He died in the parking lot of this very same hotel. Now, this hotel is burned to the ground, claiming the lives of 4 Houston firefighters. Reporting live from Southwest Houston, Doug Miller, KHOU 11 News.
The 4 firefighters killed were stationed at 2 firehouses.
Tiffany Craig is live at Station 51, and Tiff, we hear neighbors have been stopping by to show their support tonight.
They have quite a few of them, actually. Here at Fire Station 51, they lost 2 of the 4 firefighters today. It makes sense that there's some of the first on the scene because the motel is less than half a mile in that direction. But we did notice a lot of neighbors coming over here. They feel a tie to this place and to the firefighters. They don't know a lot of them by name, but they feel like friends. Fire Station 51. Their motto is always rolling.
Twice I've seen firefighters jump out of their trucks, run in like hell, didn't know that what was going to happen, didn't stop for anything.
So when the Southwest Inn caught on fire, there was no stopping the crew less than half a mile away.
It's heartbreaking. It's very, very close to home.
We don't know how many from 51 went in, but 2 never made it out. 35-year-old Captain Matthew Renaud and 41-year-old engineer operator Robert Beebe.
You know, we just wanted to come by and give our condolences.
Neighbors stopped by to leave flowers. After a moving salute by the entire firehouse as ambulances rolled past with the city's 4 fallen firefighters.
I'm proud of what they do, and I'm proud of the fact that our guys in 51 do that kind of thing. And it just makes me really sad that they paid the price.
You can see a makeshift memorial, and 2 people actually just walked up and put some flowers down there. It's been growing as the days gone on because a number of people have started to learn that 2 of those 4 came out of this particular fire station. I also noticed that a few children came with their mothers and brought flowers, and I asked one of them, why did you come? And he said, well, to me, firefighters are our heroes. We're live in Southwest Houston. Tiffany Craig, KHOU 11 News.
The other 2 killed were based at Fire Station 68. That's where Andrew Horansky is live tonight.
And Andrew, we hear that one of those firefighters had only been on the job a month.
Just a month, and it was certainly an exciting place for her to work because according to its website, Firehouse 68 is one of the busiest firehouses in the entire city. As you can see here tonight, though, it is a place that is in mourning. You can see the flag is at half-staff just as this fire engine goes out to make a call here tonight. Below that flag, you can see the black mark going through the number 68. Earlier this afternoon, it went up there shortly after the procession rolled by here, and firefighters from the station spilled right out into the front lot. For them, this was their darkest day. They lost 2 of their own, a 29-year-old firefighter EMT and a 24-year-old probationary firefighter. And all evening, we have been seeing people from throughout the community showing up to show their support, even if they did not know these heroes personally. One woman we met manages an apartment complex nearby and says the department has come by over the years to help those tenants who lost everything. Tonight, she wanted to be here with the department on a day they lost so much.
We're there for them. We're praying for them, for God to give them strength. And we're thankful for what they've done for us.
So many people are into the night. We've also seen the engine slowly come home, some going back out because, of course, the job of the firefighter isn't over. Few firefighters, though, seem to be leaving tonight. Obviously, many families have come here. They are together inside. Outside, you can see the memorial at the base of that flagpole, that flag that is at half-staff. 4 candles for those firefighters now burn at the base of that pole. For so many people here, they cannot seem to say thank you enough, and tonight they cannot seem to express their condolences enough to those firefighters either. Reporting live, I'm Andrew Horansky, KHOU 11 News.
All right, Andrew, thank you. 6 other firefighters were hurt in today's fire, some of them critically.
Drew Caritas is live at Memorial Hermann in the Med Center with an update for us. Drew?
Well, good evening. Amidst the tremendous amount of grief, we've seen a steady stream of firefighters showing up here to Memorial Hermann in support of one of the 6 firefighters injured in today's fire. We're told the other 5 are being treated at 2 other area hospitals, and it's safe to say everyone we have seen has been praying for all of these guys to pull through. Over the past several hours, we have seen firefighters and other authorities coming and going, in some cases leaning on each other for comfort before entering the hospital. The presence of HFD vehicles in this lot has been very visible. We don't know too many specifics on the conditions of those injured. We can tell you that one of the firefighters, the firefighter who is being treated here at Memorial Hermann, is in critical condition in the burn unit. We're told some of the other injuries are also severe, and at least one is for heat exhaustion. Now, understandably, the firefighters showing up here have not wanted to make any public comments. One firefighter told me this is just too personal. For now, we're live in the Med Center. Drew Caritas, KHOU 11 News.
And while the city grieves, the search for answers is underway.
Jeff McShann joins us live now from the scene with more on the investigation tonight. Jeff.
Yeah, Lisa, as you can only imagine, this investigation is going to be very, very important, not only to the fire department, but to the victims' families as well. Everybody doesn't want this to happen again. Now, before the sun went down today, we actually saw dozens of investigators from several different agencies begin that process. Racks of powerful lights were brought in so the investigation can continue throughout the night. We are told experts will leave nothing untouched as the fire department tries to determine what caused the fire that killed 4 of their own. The investigation will start with 12:09 Friday afternoon when someone from the Bahar restaurant called 911. Sources within the fire department said the fire may have started in the sports bar at the motel. Late this evening, we witnessed an arson investigator high atop a ladder truck taking photos of an area where there had clearly been a collapse. Only the fire chief is talking about the investigation. He told us why firefighters went into the fully involved lobby.
They were in the highest amount of risk possible because we thought we had some civilians in the structure.
There were some 40 guests staying at the motel. Many of them had been there for months.
They were risking their lives to save our community. Unfortunately, the building had much more fire in it than what we originally had thought. The structure collapsed, and our members, while trying to save lives, were trapped.
HFD Arson is taking the lead. They're being joined by the Houston Police Department, homicide detectives who could take over if it turns out to be some type of criminal act. Federal and state investigators are here too, all searching for the same thing: answers. And we can also tell you in the last 30 minutes, many of these investigators went home. Basically, Doug mentioned they're looking for hot spots right now. That's what they're doing, but they're also preserving the crime scene. That's what they're calling this, a crime scene. And tomorrow, when the sun comes up, the investigators will be back, but they don't want anything moved around here overnight, so HPD has also set up a perimeter around the burned down motel. We're live in Southwest Houston. Jeff McShann, KHOU 11 News.
While we mourn tonight, another Texas city is honoring 2 of its firefighters who have survived so much. That's next.
Plus, more on the latest weather crisis in Oklahoma as violent storms turn up more deadly tornadoes.
It's been another one of those days in Oklahoma. Oklahoma City has had tornadic thunderstorms just to their west. This evening, I've got a damage update for you, and we'll talk about our own weekend rain chances.
A local police officer is in the hospital after a suspect's desperate attempt to escape takes a dangerous turn. The fire at the Southwest End broke out more than 10 hours ago.
Tonight, investigators, as we heard from Jeff McShann, they're protecting the area just like they would a crime scene.
Putting their lives on the line is a risk all firefighters accept.
Jeremy Diesel takes a look at the history of Houston's fallen heroes.
This day is history of the worst kind, the deadliest day for the Houston Fire Department. Before today, 65 Houston firefighters had died in the line of duty, mostly individual incidents, with a few exceptions. Captain James Harlow and firefighter Damian Hobbs were killed on Easter Sunday 2009 in a house fire on Oak Vista. The 2 residents inside that home made it out alive, something that neighbors like Deborah Joseph will never forget.
It was just tough, tragic.
On Valentine's Day of 2000, Lewis Mayo and Kimberly Smith died in a fire at a McDonald's. It was also a roof collapse. Smith was the first female to die in the line of duty. In the past few years, Grady Burke died in a house fire in 2005. Kevin KHOU was killed in a building fire in 2004, and veteran firefighter Jay Yonke died fighting a high-rise fire in the 4-leaf tower in the Galleria area. It's not just fire that has claimed lives. In 1953, 2 firefighters were killed in a fire truck crash. This day is the kind of history that no one wants to see, but will never be forgotten. Jeremy Diesel, KHOU 11 News.
The most recent fatality was in 2009 when Cadet Conway Johnson collapsed during training and died several days later.
Today's tragedy brought mixed emotions to people in Bryan as the town welcomed home 2 of its heroes who survived a fire. Ricky Manti and Mitch Morin were badly burned while fighting a fire at the Knights of Columbus Hall back in February. 2 of their colleagues were killed. Manti and Morin had been recovering in Galveston ever since. During today's welcome ceremony, there was a moment of silence for their brothers at the Houston Fire Department.
Another round of severe weather moved through the Midwest tonight. Tornadoes hit the Oklahoma City area again. We are now told at least 2 people were killed. There are a mother and baby who were in a car on Interstate 40. There is flooding around the city with cars submerged.
Another tornado hit west of St. Louis tonight. Emergency crews rushed to the suburb of Earth City, where a Holiday Inn, we're told, was damaged. So far, no reports of injuries there.
Let's get over to David Paul right now. How long is that threat going to remain, David?
It's turning into a flooding threat tonight for Oklahoma. It was earlier this afternoon, around 4 or 5 o'clock, that a big tornadic thunderstorm rolled in toward Oklahoma City. It did damage along I-40. The 2 that lost their lives this afternoon were on the road. They were in their car on I-40. It was in rush hour. There were a bunch of cars out here that were flipped over and did a lot of damage to them. People were hurt. It's a reminder that if a big tornadic thunderstorm is heading toward you and you're in your car on a highway, the best advice is to abandon the vehicle and get in the ditch next to the road. It's safer than being in your car, which can be just tumbled along for hundreds of yards and do significant damage to you and the vehicle. It's now a flooding threat here in Oklahoma City tonight. They got flash flood warnings in effect there. And there's that line that extends all the way up toward Joplin and into Springfield, Missouri tonight. Closer to home, we've been quiet all afternoon. No rain on the radar right now. I think that will change as we go into Sunday. More on that in just a minute. I'm still watching the remnants of what was Barbara. And another little tropical wave is moving through the Yucatan Channel into the Gulf. I think we'll see scattered thunderstorms here persist for several days, and we'll watch it carefully. Anytime we get storms that kind of hang out for a while over warm water, this time of year, they can develop. Our hurricane season begins tomorrow. Future Track says we'll have a few scattered showers tomorrow afternoon, mainly in the heat of the day. But it's Sunday that a weak frontal boundary is going to push in, and this will give us, I think, a wider coverage. And see how these showers kind of line up on the coast by Sunday noon. Many other computer models have that a little further inland, so it would not surprise me at all to see some heavy downpours in the Houston area on Sunday. That's a day to have your umbrella with you, and a great time to download Weathercaster at KHOU.com. It's our new weather app, and you'll have the radar right in your hand. You'll get all the updates and warnings and the radar, no matter where you are. All right, tomorrow, 78 in the morning, 87 by noon, 92 tomorrow is the high temp. Got a 20% chance for a scattered shower. It's still 80 in the Woodlands. Good evening, Woodlands. And it's steamy all over the place. Tomball's 81, Sugarland is 81 right now. Had a high of 93 at Bush. Hottest day of the year so far was today. Still have a breeze out of the southeast at 10 to 15. Medium tree, medium grass, low mold spore count, and no weed pollen. That ragweed that we had measured a couple days ago never did show up again. Lows in the mid-70s overnight from Huntsville to the Woodlands. Mid to upper 70s from downtown to the coast. 78 in Houston overnight for a low. It's not much of a low temp. And then here's your extended. And there's Sunday, which is that 50% chance for thunder showers. That's the day you really have to watch out for. Could see some heavy showers. And then it's more hot weather as we go into next week. Sunday's the wet day, guys.
Got it. All right. Thank you, sir. We are happy to say we do have some good news tonight in a story out of Southeast Houston.
That's where some teenagers are celebrating the end of a 4-year experiment that's led to some major opportunities at Cristo Rey Jesuit High School.
Andrew Horansky has their story.
Take a good look and you may just see the next big scientist, CEO, or surgeon. Professions which may have once seemed out of reach for these kids. 4 years ago, they entered Houston's Cristo Rey Jesuit High School.
Salgado, Andres!
Some, like Andre Salgado, went kicking and screaming.
It definitely wasn't my idea to come here. I was basically forced to come here, like a lot of people were.
The Jesuit order had purchased the old Mount Carmel campus for $2 from the Archdiocese, and they had a unique model in mind: to teach class 10 hours a day, Monday through Thursday, then have students work all-day jobs on Fridays.
And every kid who is at Cristo Rey Jesuit has a job.
As president and priest TJ Martinez explains, they earned a paycheck that not only paid their tuition, but helped build their resume.
It really challenged the imagination of what we could do in the private
school world for children living in poverty.
So did it work? Just ask Salgado, who never ventured far from home prior to high school.
And
never been downtown before?
I had never been to downtown. Most of my life I've just been confined to a 4-mile radius.
Next year he's going to Rice and majoring in computer science on a full scholarship.
I'm the first one in my family to go to college, to actually graduate from high school. That's really big for me and my family.
For Daisy Alviso's family too.
Like, I did it.
Her parents didn't go to college either.
I'm gonna take like full advantage of it and like show them like, you know, like I can do it and I'm gonna make you proud.
In fact, all 60 seniors come from families who were living below the poverty line. All 60 now have college acceptances from UT to Georgetown. Not bad for a small school that just a few years ago didn't even exist. Andrew Horensky, KHOU 11 News.
And their lives are changed forever.
Forever, and we are very happy for them.
Good work, guys. Still ahead tonight, Houstonians are honoring our fallen heroes. You'll see some of the messages that you've sent for the firefighters and their families.
Also, how a suspect is accused of trying to outrun the law, and it ended with an officer in the hospital.
A Splendora police officer just back from maternity leave was hospitalized in serious condition tonight following a pursuit.
Officer Lori Rodriguez hit a tree while chasing a suspect.
She had pulled the man over for a traffic violation, but when the man learned his truck would be towed, he took off. He led that officer to his property, but when she followed, the man's girlfriend, who was on the phone with him, slammed the gate shut, forcing the officer to swerve.
She suffered a head injury and needed surgery, but we are told tonight she's in stable condition. Both the driver and his girlfriend were taken into custody.
Still to come tonight, Mexico soccer fans had plenty to cheer about. Matt's up next with that story and much more in sports.
And later, more on today's fire tragedy in Houston, your comments, and how you can help.
Plenty of college baseball and high school softball tournament action to show you, but first to the biggest sports event in our city tonight as the Mexican national soccer team took on Nigeria at Reliance Stadium in an international friendly. 62,000 plus on hand. Mexico's popular forward Javier Chicharito Hernandez didn't disappoint. He scored twice in the match, once here in the first half, again in the second. The two talented teams fight to a 2-2 draw. The Astros are in Anaheim tonight taking on the Angels, and they're trying for their third straight win. Jason Castro has his hot bat going. He homers here in the fourth, and at last check, Astros up 3-2 in the fifth. In the NCAA baseball tournament, Rice took on San Francisco in the Eugene, Oregon regional. Rice catcher Jeff Parrott put the Owls up 2-0 here in the fifth with a 2-run homer over the left field fence. But this game went 11 innings, finally ending. Watch this. San Francisco's left fielder loses his fly ball in the late day sun. The ball drops in. That allows the Owls to score the winning run in the 11th. Rice wins 3-2. At the Corvallis regional, Texas A&M falls to UC Santa Barbara. The Gauchos showed they don't spend all their time hanging 10 in the surf as they hung 3 runs on the Aggies for the A&M could even get on the board. Gauchos win it 6-4. Tonight, Baton Rouge Regional, Sam Houston State beats Louisiana Lafayette. Luke Pluchek, the game-winning hit, 2-run double in the 7th. Bearcats win it 4-2. The day began with 3 Houston area high school teams playing in the state softball tournament, but only one team still alive tonight. Kingwood Mustang pitcher Cassie McClure, star of the day. She hit this go-ahead 2-run homer in the third and then pitched the Mustangs to victory. Kingwood upends the defending champion Deer Park in the state semis 9-3.
We've worked for it. We've trained for this moment, and we're just so excited that we're going to this championship of the state.
In the Class 4A semifinal between Foster and Lucas Lovejoy, Foster kept coming from behind time after time, but finally the Falcons ran out of gas in the 12th inning. Lucas Lovejoy wins it 10-5. Tonight, Class 5A baseball regional final, Dulles and Jersey Village. Despite a few errors, Vikings pitcher Dakota Mills throws a no-hitter. Dulles beats the Falcons 5-2 in the region final in Austin. The Woodlands has defeated Rockwall tonight 12-5. That's it for sports.
Busy day. All right.
Goodness.
Thank you, sir. Right. And when we come back, your thoughts on today's tragedy. The loss of so many Houston firefighters today is being felt by so many of you.
Many are turning to social media to share their grief and show their support. Alan Haynes writes on our website, "These Houston firefighters deserve our respect for their courage and honor. Their families deserve our support and prayers."
Johnny Rips says our heroes, so young, so brave, so bold, willing to give their all to save another.
And Tony Lorman writes, "A tragic reminder to never take anything in life for granted because tomorrow is promised to no one."
For 60 years, the 100 Club in Houston has supported the dependents of fallen firefighters. We have put a link to the group at KHOU.com if you would like to make a donation.
And make sure to join us for KHOU 11 News in the morning starting at 7 a.m. Sherry Williams and the team will continue our coverage of today's tragedy. Until then, have a safe night.
Have a good night, everyone.